Welcome to History with Herodotus, where we delve into the fascinating stories of the past. In this series, we're embarking on a journey through one of the most pivotal moments in American history, the American Revolution. From the seeds of discontent to the flames of rebellion, we'll examine the key players, pivotal battles, and transformative ideologies that defined this revolution. In our first episode, Seeds of Discontent, we're setting the stage for the dramatic events that unfolded in the mid-18th century. We'll explore how the aftermath of the French and Indian War created a perfect storm of debt, taxation, and resistance that would eventually boil over into full-blown rebellion. So, let's begin our journey in the year 1763, when the British Empire, fresh from its victory over the French, found itself deeply in debt. The cost of the war had been staggering, with estimates suggesting that the British national debt had risen to a whopping £122 million. To put this into perspective, this was a sum equivalent to approximately 3 years' worth of Britain's annual revenue. The burden of paying off this enormous sum fell squarely on the shoulders of the British taxpayer, but the government also looked to its colonies in North America as a potential source of revenue. After all, the colonies had benefited from the war, which had removed the threat of French expansion and secured British dominance over the continent. To pay off this debt, the British government turned to a series of taxes that would prove highly unpopular among the colonists. The Sugar Act of 1764, for example, placed a tax on sugar, wine, and other goods imported into the colonies. This act was particularly damaging to colonial merchants, who had grown accustomed to smuggling these goods into the colonies without paying the required duties. The Stamp Act of 1765, which required colonists to purchase stamps for official documents, newspapers, and even playing cards, was equally resented. The act was seen as a direct attack on the rights of Englishmen, who were guaranteed freedom from taxation without representation. These new taxes sparked widespread outrage and resistance among the colonists. Organizations like the Sons of Liberty, led by fiery patriots like Samuel Adams and James Otis, began to organize boycotts and protests against British rule. In Boston, for instance, a group of merchants and traders formed the Loyal Nine, which would later become the core of the Sons of Liberty. They distributed pamphlets, posted handbills, and organized rallies to mobilize public opinion against the taxes. As tensions escalated, colonial resistance took on various forms. The Stamp Act Congress, held in New York City in 1765, brought together representatives from 9 colonies to coordinate a unified response to the British government. Meanwhile, boycotts of British goods became increasingly popular, with many colonists opting for homemade alternatives or seeking out imports from other European nations. The Massachusetts legislature, for example, passed a resolution urging citizens to avoid purchasing British goods and to promote local industries instead. The Townshend Acts, introduced in 1767, further exacerbated the situation. These acts imposed taxes on glass, paint, lead, and paper, among other items, and also established the American Board of Customs Commissioners to enforce trade regulations. The colonists saw these measures as an attempt to strangle their economy and undermine their rights as British subjects. In response, they organized more protests, boycotts, and petitions, culminating in the Boston Non-Importation Agreement of 1768. The situation came to a head on March 5, 1770. When tensions between British soldiers and American colonists boiled over into violence. The Boston Massacre, as it came to be known, saw 5 colonists killed and several others injured in a clash with British troops outside the Custom House. Although the incident was sparked by a minor altercation, it marked a turning point in public sentiment. Many colonists began to see the British government as tyrannical and oppressive, while others started to question the legitimacy of British rule altogether. The aftermath of the Boston Massacre saw a significant shift in public opinion, with many more colonists joining the ranks of the resistance movement. The seeds of discontent, sown by years of taxation and repression, had finally begun to bear fruit. As we'll explore in our next episode, this growing unrest would eventually propel the colonies toward full-blown rebellion. That's all for today. Join us next time on History with Herodotus as we continue our series on the American Revolution with Episode 2, From Protest to Rebellion